Hello, I'm Steve Anderson. I'm the winemaker here at Eola Hills Wine Cellars, and I'd like to introduce you to my wines and my winery. A little bit about myself. I actually started at Eola Hills October 3rd, 1993 at 3:15 p.m. I was 15 minutes late, but there's a little more to that story. Actually, I was interviewed and hired to replace the vineyard manager, Jim Huggins. And 2 weeks later, he decided that he wasn't going to quit. So the winemaker hired me to do the harvest as a cellar rat, and since I had a background in science, I was doing a lot of the lab work, doing the bricks, the pH, the TAs, making notes in the journals, keeping track of all the records. And one evening I was taking a break and was watching fruit being processed into the press, and I knew we were supposed to be doing Chardonnay. But what was going down the line was actually white Riesling. So I called over to my supervisor and said, "Hey Rob, what are you processing this evening?" And he says, "Chardonnay." And I go, "No, you're not." And he goes, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, this is Riesling." So he rushes over there and I show him, and he says, "Well, I can't tell the difference." And I look behind me, and I had noticed that somebody had gathered up the 2 bins of fruit, 2 stacks, and set them all over in the corner together. And nobody could tell the difference except for me. So we ended up resorting that fruit. Ended up a little less than 10% of Riesling went into that Chardonnay press, and we won a gold medal the following year with our Chardonnay at the Oregon State Fair. So what I have here is our 2011 La Creole Pinot Noir. I just pulled samples from our barrels, and I've been doing blending trials and whittled it down to this particular glass here. The slurp is very important. It's not rude to slurp your wine, in my opinion. It helps bring out the aromas that intensifies them and makes the experience more enjoyable. It's the wine that I create that I feel is the best the vintage has to offer. So I select the best barrels that I can from my entire selection of barrels. There's 2,800 of them. Oftentimes they are the newer oak. As I mentioned, I don't want a lot of oak, so I'm trying to limit it to less than 25% new oak. And as I taste each one, I will select the ones I like the best. Oftentimes they're the newer oak barrels, not always all brand new. People will often ask me, "Do you use French oak?" And I respond that I use French, American, Hungarian, Czechoslovakian, Russian. French oak gives it a nice exotic vanilla character. The American oak gives lots of coconut and spice. So a blend of those two, and again, it's up to me and my palate how much of the American or French or Hungarian oak I will use to create that blend. And then these wines, after we extend the aging up to 18 months in barrels, I bottle it. Hopefully it gets an opportunity to sit for about 6 months, and then it's ready to drink. This is one of our most highly awarded wines. We often get gold medals, silver medals, best of show. Right now we're the #1 selling Pinot Noir in Oregon. Often I swish and spit. People ask me, well, don't you get drunk drinking wine all day long? And I say, well, you have to swish and you have to spit it out, but you know it's a good wine when the winemaker doesn't spit it out. And this is good.